Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Oh Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Stotarasata Sri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Astotarasata Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai Brajabhumi Shri Vrindavan Dhama Ki Jai Mayapur Navadvip Dhama Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Kalachanji Dhama Ki Jai Gangamai Ki Jai, Jamunamai Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Still have to find a mic that survives an ISKCON temple. Oh, that's true. Okay. We'll be talking about the spiritual world today, and Jai Radha Madhava is a perfect description of that. Thank you, Mata. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Yashoda Nandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yashoda Nandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Kalachanji Radha Kalachanji Radhe. Jaya Radha Kalachanji Radha Kalachanji Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Gaura Premanande Hare. Good morning, Hare Krishna. I was asked to give class by Nandakumar Prabhu, so I'm just trying to substitute. He's a far better speaker, so I just came to know last evening. So I'll try to do some justice. Of course, I'm not as qualified like some of the previous speakers, like Prabhupada Priya Mataji or some of the others. So if I say something, please help me out here. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhupi Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this morning we will be reading from the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The 10th canto, also the Summum Bonum, describes exclusively the pastimes of the Lord. And we will be studying from text 58 until the end of the chapter. So, how do we do this? We read the translations for each of the verses, Mataji? The focus verses 60, okay. Okay. And I just want to also maybe call out these purports are specifically very, very special because these purports were given by Srila Prabhupada while he was lying on his departure bed just a few days before he left. So these purports, we'll see in the interest of time. So maybe we can do the translation and then perhaps we could do some purports.
Text 58. Lord Brahma's external consciousness then revived, and he stood up, just like a dead man coming back to life. Opening his eyes with great difficulty, he saw the universe along with himself. So
maybe just some context here. What happened was Brahma, we know this pastime, I'm sure we've been hearing about it in the last few classes, is Brahma steals the boys and then he goes and he sees that he wants to see what's the fun, and he sees the boys are all there and he's completely bewildered. And at this time, Krishna exhibits his spiritual potency where each of the young boys, cows, calves, they manifest a form of Lord Vishnu. And it's described in the Bhagavatam how each of those forms had all the opulences, and for each and every form there were multitude of demigods offering prayers, offering worship, and each of those forms displayed multiple spiritual potencies. And when Brahma saw this, this was beyond his comprehension. He was completely stunned. And Jiva Goswami says that he actually was so shocked that he actually fell down from his swan carrier. And, he was jolted. So here Sukadeva Goswami is saying that he stood up like a dead man coming to life. So that is the context here. We see that that he was just stunned, shocked, kind of fainted in spiritual ecstasy, and he woke up and he's rubbing his eyes and he's seeing what is going on. And here Sukadeva Goswami says he saw the universe along with himself. So and now Krishna is going to reveal a little bit more in the next verse. Please go ahead.
Then looking in all directions, Lord Brahma immediately saw Vrindavan before him, filled with trees, which were the means of livelihood for the inhabitants and which were equally pleasing in all seasons.
So Lord Brahma, now Krishna reveals to him the form of Vrindavan. Right? So these three verses, 58, 59, 60, will talk about specifically about the spiritual world. So these three verses, now Krishna is going to give him a glimpse of what he saw before. So here it is mentioned that the trees of Vrindavan are a means of livelihood and were equally pleasing in all seasons. Now, I'm from Canada, and I know there that the trees, you hardly have trees on the road for, I think, 6 or 8 months of the year. You just have trees for like 3 or 4 months. But these trees that Brahma is looking at, it's not like Brahma hasn't seen a tree before. He's seen trees. But these trees are Kalpa Vriksha trees. They're really, really special. And he's seeing that Vrindavan, the Chintamani Dham, is completely filled with these Kalpa Vriksha trees. Now, in this canto, I believe, in the 22nd chapter of the 10th canto, Krishna himself glorifies the trees of Vrindavan. Krishna says, Etava janma safalyam dehinam iha dehishu pranair arthair diya vacha shreyan acharan sada. So Krishna, he glorifies the trees of Vrindavan, that these trees have perfected their lives. Etava janma safalyam. Why? Dehinam iha dehishu. They have used their body for what? And prana, their life, artha, their wealth, which are their fruits and flowers, diya, their intelligence, and vachaha, and their speech. So just like the sadhus, shreyan acharan sada, they always look at the welfare of all living entities. So a tree, we see even Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he glorifies the trees in his, when he's visiting Vrindavan, we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu glorifying the trees of Vrindavan. And also in his famous Sikshashtaka, he specifically calls out that in the third verse, Trinadapi sunichena taroriva sahishnuna, one must be an amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. So we see a descriptions of the glories of the trees. And here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada, in the last line, he says, trees and vegetables, not industry, provide the real means of life. So the real progress, so Srila Prabhupada would say, the real wealth a man can have are cows, land, and gold. Land because, they produce trees and vegetation and everything. So that's the real wealth. But in the modern um, world, we see that because of greed, people are actually cutting down trees to build buildings and factories and whatnot. So even in Vrindavan, which used to be many forests, we see trees are being cut out. So it's as devotees, we should be very mindful of how we treat Mother Earth, and if possible, try to avoid that and discourage or participation in activities that promote those kinds of things. So, and the focus verse is text 60. So we will talk a little bit, maybe we will just read the translation, move on, and then I will come back to this. So text 60. It's
Vrindavan is the transcendental abode of the Lord, where there is no hunger, anger, or thirst. Though naturally inimical, both human beings and fierce animals live there together in transcendental friendship.
text 61. So we will come back to this verse. So let's do 61.
Then Lord Brahma saw the absolute truth, who is one without a second, who possesses full knowledge, and who is unlimited, assuming the role of a child in a family of coward men and standing all alone, just as before, with a morsel of food in his hand, searching everywhere for the calves and his coward friends.
So this is now Krishna. He's given a vision of Vrindavan. Lord Brahma's woken up, and he's completely closed out that entire pastime where all the cowherd boys, calves that were not different from Lord Vishnu come back into Krishna, and then Brahma, he sees the scene about a year ago where he sees that Lord Krishna, he is walking around with food in his left hand, looking for his calves. So Brahma is completely stunned, and he doesn't know what is going on. And here Sukadev Goswami is saying, Krishna, who possesses full knowledge, who is unlimited, assumed the role of a child in a family of cowherd men and standing all alone. So Krishna, he's looking, where are my calves? Where are my calves? And Brahma is like, oh. So we know that Brahma, another name for Lord Brahma is Vidhi, right? Oh, is it? I have to bend a little to speak. So can I pull it up a little? Is it okay? Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, is that? Yeah, it's okay. So, is this better? That's perfect. Sorry, I'm still learning. What was I saying? Oh yes, Krishna. So Krishna was walking around with a morsel of food, and Brahma looks at this particular incident. Now Brahma is Vidhi. Another name for Lord Brahma is Vidhi. Vidhi means, so he's also referred as Videhi. Vidhi Videhi Tvam Atho Jaganti in the Brahma Samhita. So Brahma is Vidhi. Vidhi means in Sanskrit, it's like a method, a prescription, a rule, a process. So he's the creator. And if you have to create, you have to follow a process. Everything has to be systematically organized, right? And, Lord Brahma, of course, he is the person who actually teaches the instructions of the Vedic literature. And if you see the Vedic mantras, they have to be uttered in a specific meter, in a specific chanda, right? And raga in a specific melody. And Brahma is this person where he has to follow these rules according to scripture, according to proper method. And then, so Brahma has this mindset where everything has to be done pakka. And then he sees this person who's eating from his left hand, and he's pulling food from his friend's mouth and eating, and his friends are pulling food from the other person's mouth and eating, and they're throwing the food. And Brahma is thinking, this is God? How is that even possible? So he is like this cannot be God. Come on, let's see. And so then he goes and he steals the calves and cowherd boys. And just at that time, although it is in Brahma's time, it is just a moment. For in Earth's time, it is a year. And Krishna also has fun. And in that one moment, Krishna displays the whole manifested pastimes. And Brahma is like, he is so stunned that we see in the previous verses, he falls off and then he gets up, he rubs his eyes and he's wondering what's happening. And Krishna, he reveals the entire spiritual world, text 60. So this purport I really liked. This is one of my favorite purports. I'm going to just maybe bring out a few things here. Again, as I mentioned, these purports were spoken by Srila Prabhupada while on his departure bed. So in the first paragraph, Prabhupada writes, "What is the extent of our intelligence in comparison to the vast expanse of water in the ocean? On my passage to America, how insignificant the ship was, like a matchbox in the midst of the ocean. Krishna's intelligence resembles the ocean, for one cannot imagine how vast it is. The best course, therefore, is to surrender to Krishna. Don't try to measure Krishna." So Prabhupada is again emphasizing the principle of Sharanagati, that we need to take shelter of the Lord, and we cannot understand the Lord by our limited intelligence. It is like Krishna is unlimited, we are limited, and we want to understand the unlimited with our limited senses and mind. It is impossible. So only unless and until the mercy of the Lord and the spiritual master is present, one cannot realize this. So this is one of Srila Prabhupada's favorite verses from the Shveta Shvatara Upanishad. Srila Prabhupada says, "Yasya deve para bhaktir yata deve tata gurau tasyaite katita hi artat prakashante mahatmana." Yasya deve para bhaktir. By unflinching devotion unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yata deve tata gurau. And similar devotion unto one's spiritual master. Tasyaiva katita hi artat. Only by their mercy you can actually understand the truth. Prakashante mahatmana. And this is revealed. So it is not by one's intelligence that one can actually understand about Krishna, but it is only by the causeless mercy of the Lord. And here we see Krishna, he's very, very merciful to Brahma, where he's going to reveal, he's revealed the spiritual world. Lord Brahma, even though he is the supreme controller of this universe, sometimes, there is a saying that if the mother-in-law has to chastise the daughter-in-law, she will sometimes chastise the daughter. She won't chastise the daughter-in-law directly. So sometimes this incident that we see where Krishna is bewildering Brahma and he's making him do things that he wouldn't like is for our benefit, because Brahma is a pure devotee, but Krishna, he sometimes teaches us through his pure devotees. So he's putting Brahma in a spell of Yogamaya. He's completely bewildering him. Brahma is coming out of his trance, and now he's looking at Krishna. And Krishna, at this point, he doesn't exhibit his Chaturbhuja form, his four-handed form, which is what Lord Brahma is generally used to worshipping. When the earth was burdened, and she approaches, we see this in the beginning of the 10th canto, the Bhumi Devi, she approaches Lord Brahma along with the demigods in the form of a calf. And Lord Vishnu, he is present in his planet called the Shweta Dweep. So there is a description in the 2nd chapter of the 1st canto of the Garga Samhita. If we have time, maybe we can go over that today, where there's a beautiful description of the spiritual world. Srila Dhanveer Maharaj has very kindly given us a description from the Garga Samhita. So we'll see if we have time. We'll try to go over. The spiritual world, there's a lot of, as conditioned soul, at least I don't have access to the spiritual world, but mercifully the Acharyas have given us many descriptions in Shastra. We see in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, there is an entire description by Sanatan Goswami. And also in the Brahma Samhita, you see the first 6 verses of the 5th chapter, there is a beautiful description of the spiritual world. And Garga Samhita, there is a description of the spiritual world. So we'll see whatever we can try to cover today. Okay, so let's see, where were we? And a few more. 61. Can someone read the translation?
Then Lord Brahma saw the absolute truth, who is one without a second, who possesses full knowledge and who is unlimited, assuming the role of a child in the family of cowherd men, standing all alone, just as before, with a morsel of food in his hand, searching everywhere for the calves and his cowherd friends. We just read that. Read the next one.
62, I think we have to read. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
After seeing this, Lord Brahma hastily got down from his swan carrier, fell down like a golden rod, and touched the feet of Lord Krishna with the tips of the 4 crowns on his heads. Offering his obeisances, he bathed the feet of Krishna with the water of his tears of joy.
So now Krishna, you see, imagine the scene. Krishna is this little boy, he's looking for his calves, and then this magnanimous or magnificent person named who's got 4 heads, coming on a swan carrier, steals his calves and cowherd friends, and then he comes, and then Krishna shows him a glimpse of the spiritual world. He comes out of his trance, and then he's so shocked that he's fallen. He gets up, and then he looks at this young little boy who's still running around looking, and then Brahma realizes what a big mistake I made, and then he goes and he falls down at Krishna's feet. Not just falling down, but here the word which is used is dandavat, right? And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, like a golden rod that is fallen, right? So danda means a stick. So Lord Brahma, he falls down like a golden rod, and then he realizes that, this is my master, that I made a mistake. I can't play with my master. There is always a relationship of guru and disciple. So, there is an etiquette that one needs to follow. And Brahma realizes that I made a biggest blunder. And we see that even though, he recites, there's a conversation of the entire Brahma Samhita, he recites so many prayers. And Krishna, he just responds, like we see in the 5th chapter. Krishna responds in 5 verses. But in the back of mind, Lord Brahma is thinking, I still messed up. I know Krishna said it's okay, but I still messed up. So he's thinking like this, and he says, I need to atone for myself. I am too proud. So then he comes back again as Haridas. So Brahma Haridas. And this time he's born in a low family. He's not born as a Brahma or a great Brahmana. He's born in a Muslim family. But Lord Chaitanya, when he comes back again, he gives him the post of Namacharya. So anyway, continuing here in this particular text, we're on 62. Okay, we're in 63, correct? Okay. So maybe we'll do 64, and then hopefully we can do a little bit of. Oh, we should read 63?
Yeah, we
Okay.
haven't done 63.
Okay,
Rising
good.
the falling again and again at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna for the long time, Lord Brahma remembered over and over the Lord's greatness he had just seen.
So now, Brahma, he's crying, he's offering. Shri Radha Kalachandji ki jai. So Brahma, he's offering, he's crying, he's like, what a big mistake I made. He's got 4 heads, so he's crying from all his 4 heads, tears. He's offering Abhishek to the lotus feet of the Lord. And at the same time, he's offering obeisances hundreds and hundreds of times. He's offering obeisances, crying, and the Acharyas explain that these tears are like tears of Abhishek that we do. Text 64.
Then rising very gradually and wiping his 2 eyes, Lord Brahma looked up at Mukunda. Lord Brahma, his head bent low, his mind concentrated, and his body trembling, very humbly began with faltering words to offer praises to Lord Krishna.
Okay, so this is the scene that's going on. So now our focus verse is text 60, and we will see what is it that Brahma saw. So we read the verse. Yatra naisarga durvaira sahasan mrigadayaha mitrani va jitavasa drutarut tarshakadikam yatra naisarga durvaira sahasan mrigadayaha mitrani vajitavasa drutarut tarshakadikam. Yatra naisarga durvaira sahasan nirmrigadaya mitrani vajitavasa drutaruttarshakadikam durvaira sahasan nirmrigadaya mitrani vajitavasa drutaruttarshakadikam mitranaisarga durvaira sahasan nirmrigadaya mitrani vajitavasa drutaruttarshakadikam. Yatra, where? Naisarga, by nature. Durvaira, living in enmity. Saha asan, live together. Nir, human beings. Mriga adayaha, and animals. Mitrani, friends. Iva, like. Ajita, of Lord Sri Krishna. Avasa, residence. Druta, gone away. Rut, anger. Tarshaka adikam, thirst, and so on. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace by Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: Vrindavan is the transcendental abode of the Lord, where there is no hunger, anger, or thirst. Though naturally inimical, both human beings and fierce animals live together in transcendental friendship. So there is no enmity in Vrindavan, and we see that Lord Chaitanya, he gave us a glimpse of what Vrindavan is as he was walking along the Jharikanda forest. As he traversed through the forest, Lord Chaitanya, through the performance of the Sankirtan of Lord Hari, all the wild animals, they gave up their natural inimical propensity, and everyone chanted together. And wherever the Lord is present, that place is Vrindavan. And here we see that the living entities in Vrindavan, they revive, or they have their original spiritual nature, and the nature is different from that exhibited in the material world. Shri Radha Kalachandji Ki Jai. Every time you look at Radha Kalachandji, you feel like you're in Vrindavan. Purport. The word vana means forest. We are afraid of the forest and do not wish to go there. But in Vrindavan, the forest animals are as good as demigods. So here Vrindavan, specifically Srila Prabhupada is referring to Goloka Vrindavan. Even in this material world, in the forest, the animals live together. And when they go to drink water, they do not attack anyone. We see they don't have envy, unlike human beings. So envy develops because of sense gratification. But in Vrindavan, there is no sense gratification, for the only aim is Krishna's satisfaction. So this is very important. When we live in a community of devotees, if our dealings are such that it is for Krishna's satisfaction, then we help create an atmosphere of Vrindavan. So this is important, and this is something that I'm looking at all the devotees who live in this exalted community, and there's so many great souls, and everyone has this complete dedication that they want to serve Shri Radha Kalachandji. So externally, even though this may not look like a forest, but because of the consciousness of the devotees, Shri Radha Kalachandji Dham is actually non-different from Vrindavan. Even in the material world, the animals in Vrindavan are not envious of the sadhus who live there. The sadhus keep cows and supply milk to the tigers, saying, "Come here and take a little milk." Thus, envy and malice are unknown in Vrindavan. So, Srila Prabhupada, we know that Srila Prabhupada lived in Vrindavan for many years, even before he took sannyas. And Srila Prabhupada here is teaching us through his purports what is the system followed by the sadhus. Because Vrindavan, at least in 100 years ago, was filled with a lot of wild animals, especially tigers. And the sadhus, what they would generally do is, if they would have their bhajan kutir, they would generally keep a pot of milk or something, so that when the tigers come, they would drink the milk and then they would leave. And I've also heard of many cases where Babajis would be eaten away by the tigers if nothing is kept, or if the tigers are angry or hungry. So this is here Prabhupada is teaching us how the sadhus, they survived in the forests and how they lived peacefully. Unlike the modern world where everyone is afraid of Vrindavan, here Prabhupada is saying that In Vrindavan, there is no envy and there is no malice, and everyone lives peacefully. So, continue. That is the difference between Vrindavan and the ordinary world. We are horrified to hear the name of Vana, the forest, but in Vrindavan, there is no such horror. Everyone there is happy by pleasing Krishna. Krishnot Kirtana Gana Nartana Parao. When a Goswami or a tiger or other whether a Goswami or a tiger or other ferocious animal, everyone's business is the same, to please Krishna. So again, this is Vrindavan consciousness. If you live and live your life in such a way that all you want to do is to please Krishna, then that is non-different from Vrindavan. Even the tigers are also devotees. Krishna, what happened to my laptop? Can someone continue reading? This is Prabhu.
Even the tigers are also devotees. This is the specific qualification of Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, everyone is happy. The calf is happy, the cat is happy, the dog is happy, the man is happy. Everyone. Everyone wants to serve Krishna in a different capacity, and thus there is no envy.
So I just wanted to call out, so Kuntha is a place where there is misery. Vaikuntha is a place where there is no misery. And here we see that Krishna, in Krishna's abode, there is no misery. Everyone is happy. Sorry, continue.
One may sometimes think that the monkeys in Vrindavan are envious because they cause mischief and steal food. But in Vrindavan, we find that the monkeys are allowed to take butter, which Krishna himself distributes. Krishna personally demonstrates that everyone has the right to live. This is Vrindavan life. Why should I live and you die? No, that is material life. The inhabitants of Vrindavan think, whatever is given by Krishna, let us divide it as prasad and eat. This mentality cannot appear all of a sudden, but it will gradually develop with Krishna consciousness. By sadhana, one can come to this platform.
So this is another important point Srila Prabhupada is giving us, is how do we develop this Vrindavan consciousness? It doesn't come automatically, immediately. It comes by gradual practice. It comes by sadhana. And this mentality that I should accept only one's quota and I should understand that this belongs, I should not accept something that doesn't belong to me. This principle is also taught in the Sri Isopanishad. Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. So this is Vrindavan consciousness. And if we develop this consciousness that there is no greed, there is no hankering, then life becomes very happy. Continue, please.
In this material world, one may collect funds all over the world in order to distribute food freely, yet those to whom the food is given may not feel appreciation. The value of Krishna consciousness, however, will gradually be very much appreciated. For instance,
I just wanted to comment one thing. This specific point that Srila Prabhupada said, that how Krishna consciousness was gradually feel appreciated. I know, I'm not too familiar with the history here in this dham, but I know in many places, I know for example in Detroit, in Dev Sadan Mandir, when Srila Prabhupada opened the temple, the Fisher Mansion, that place was so dangerous. I mean, even 20 years ago, I couldn't, when I tried to go there, even during the daytime, my family would prevent me. They would say, don't go there. But I would just go. But it was so dangerous that people would even hesitate to go there even during the daytime, right? But and I don't know how it was in the 70s. Must have been even worse. But the point here is, this change doesn't happen all immediately, all of a sudden. It happens gradually. And Srila Prabhupada said, just worship Krishna nicely and that place will change. And today, next to Dev Sadan Mandir, next to the temple in Detroit, you have these houses which are the most expensive houses in the whole state of Michigan. How is that possible? Like a place where people can't even go and you just worship Krishna, and everything, all good fortune comes. So Krishna is Shripati. So he's the husband of the goddess of fortune. And wherever there is, so we see the last verse of the Bhagavad Gita, that Sanjaya is proclaiming that wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, and at that place, Tatra Shri Vijaya Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama, there is extraordinary power, morality, victory, and opulence. So this will naturally follow when we take to the process of Krishna consciousness. The entire aura of the place changes. Continue, please.
Prabhupada continues and says, for instance, an article about the temple of the Hare Krishna movement in Durban, South Africa. The Durban Post reported, quote, all the devotees here are very much active in the service of Lord Krishna, and the results are obvious to see. Happiness, good health, peace of mind, and the development of all good qualities, unquote. This is the nature of Vrindavan. Hava abhaktaksha kuto mahad guna. Without Krishna consciousness, happiness is impossible. One may struggle, but one cannot have happiness. We are therefore trying to give the human society the opportunity for a life of happiness, good health, peace of mind, and all the good qualities through God consciousness. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. So, it's already 8:25. Just in the interest of time, maybe I would like to read a little bit from the second chapter of the first canto of the Garga Samhita. Sorry? Which gives a brief description of the spiritual world, because this is what Brahma saw, and it is briefly mentioned in these texts. But would you like to hear about the spiritual world a little bit? Yes? Okay. So the context is the Bhumi Devi, along with Lord Brahma and the Devatas, the demigods, they go to offer prayers to Lord Vishnu in Shvetadvip, or on the banks of the Kshira, or the milk ocean. And at that time, so Lord Vishnu, he tells Lord Brahma. So now we see in the Krishna book, in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, there is a different rendition, and here in the Garga Samhita there is a different rendition. So this pastime happens in several days. So this particular description that Gargacharya or Gargamuni is giving is from a different day of Brahma, but it's still very wonderful, where it describes the spiritual world. When in this particular instance, which I'm reading from Garga Samhita, when when Lord Brahma, he appeals to Lord Vishnu, Lord Vishnu tells him, actually this is beyond me. I can't do anything. Now you have to go to, only person who can actually resolve this problem is Lord Krishna. So then Brahma says, who is Krishna? I don't know anyone by that name. You are my supreme Lord. You are my master. So then Lord Vishnu says, okay, let's go to the spiritual world. So he puts them on a boat, and then they travel through the same path where the water of the Karanala Jala comes through this universe. When Lord Vamana, he pokes the hole, so there is a hole that is punctured in the universe, and the waters of the Karanala Jala, they come down into this universe. Now, Lord Vishnu, he's on a boat and he's flowing through that river and passing through that hole, and then he takes all the demigods, he leaves that hole, and he goes to the spiritual world. Now there is a description on the journey, what the demigods see, and a beautiful description of the Goloka Vrindavan. So I would like to read a little, and then we can, okay, I'll try to do as fast as I can. Mother Kunti is so excited. I wish I had that enthusiasm. Thank you, Mata. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, without Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? So here the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Lord Vishnu. He's speaking this. Without Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Master of countless universes, perfect, above the demigods, and the enjoyer of transcendental pastimes, this problem will not be solved. You should go to his eternal and effulgent abode at once. Sri Brahma said, I do not know anyone greater and more perfect than you. If there is such a person, please show him to us, O Lord. Sri Narada said, when this was said, perfect Lord Hari showed all the demigods a spiritual river path flowing through the hole Sri Vamana made in the universe with his toenail. So Narad Muni is actually describing this. So this is, like just in the Bhagavatam we have a conversation and a conversation and a conversation. So this is like one of those conversations. So I'm in, those who would like to read this at your own leisure, I'm in the first canto, second chapter, text 11. I'm continuing to read. So now all the demigods are sitting on a boat along with Lord Vishnu, and now they're going by boat on this path. The demigods left the universe. They saw the universe was like a round kutaja fruit far below. Now they've left the universe and now they're seeing, just like when you go on a flight, you can see everything like a aerial view. Now they're seeing how the universe is looking. When they saw the other universes were like many kutaja fruits bobbing in the water of the Karana ocean, they all became frightened and surprised. Now you can see how far they have gone, that they are able to see even the other oceans. Other universes. Millions of yojanas higher, they came to 8 cities, charming with glistening jewel forest groves. Higher still, the demigods saw the Viraja river's splendid shore, which was splashed by waves of white as silk, and glorious with many staircases. After seeing this, they entered a city splendid as countless millions of suns. As they looked at its splendor, they became overpowered, their eyes struck by the light. By Lord Vishnu's order, Brahma offered obeisances to that light and meditated on it. So we see in the last verse of the 14th chapter, Krishna, he says, Brahmano hi pratishtaham amritasya avasya shashvatasya dharmasya sukasya ekantikasya cha. That this Brahman effulgence that you see, O Arjuna, is nothing but an emanation from my body. So Brahma is offering obeisances to that effulgence. Continue. In that circle of light, he saw the form of a peaceful transcendental realm. When the demigods saw in that realm the very wonderful form of 1,000-faced Lord Sesha, which resembled a white lotus stem, white of 1,000-faced Lord Sesha, they bowed down to offer respects to him. On his lap was the transcendental realm of Goloka, which is worshipped by all the worlds, and which is the realm where time, the conqueror of the proud, does not prevail, and where illusion, the material mind, heart, intelligence, and ego, material transformations, and the Mahat Tattva do not enter. How can the modes of nature enter there? their forms very beautiful and more beautiful than Kamadeva himself. Sri Krishna's associates stood at the entrance. So just like we see in the third canto, we have, the 7 gates of Vaikuntha, Jay and Vijay, the 7th gate. In the similar way, in Goloka, which is in the form of a lotus bowl, we have these different attendants guarding, so we don't have unnecessary people entering. The demigods said, "We, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, and all the protectors of the planets and the demigods headed by Indra have come here to see Krishna." Now they're talking to the gatekeepers. Sri Narada said, "Having heard this, the doorkeepers, girls who were the Lord's friends, went inside the palace and told Sri Krishna of the visitor's wish. Then a girl named Shatachandranana, who was dressed in yellow garments, who held a stick in her hand and who was Sri Krishna's friend, came from inside and asked the demigods what they wished. Sri Shatachandranana said, "All of you demigods who have come here, of what universe are you the kings? Tell me, and I shall go to the Lord at once." The demigod said, "We have not seen any other universes. We know only one universe, O beautiful one. There is no universe beyond ours." Sri Shatachandranana said, "O demigod Brahma, millions of universes bob up and down in the Karana ocean. As you are demigods in one universe, so in each universe there are many demigods. You do not even know their names. When did you even meet them? Never leaving your own homes, you remain happy with stunted minds." So now Shatachandranana is chastising. You know one universe. Living entities are born in many universes, like mosquitoes in many udumbara fruits. We see sometimes fruits have these gnats. So Shatachandranana is saying, you're just like those gnats. You don't even know what is there in the other fruit. Sri Narada said, mocked in this way, the demigods were silent. Seeing them intimidated, Lord Vishnu spoke some words. Sri Vishnu said, "We stay in the universe where eternal Lord Prishnigarbha descended, the universe broken by Lord Trivikrama's toenail." Sri Narada said, hearing this, she praised him for a long time, again entered the palace, returned and gave the demigods permission to enter. Then the demigods entered the palace. Now they are entering the palace in Goloka Vrindavan, where Krishna is residing. And now we will see more descriptions of the spiritual world. Then the demigods saw Goloka, where the king of mountains, named Govardhana, which was filled with many cows and gopis, garlanded with forest flowers, and which was decorated with rasa dance circles, is splendidly manifest, where the dark river Yamuna meandered as it wished, its shores made with lapis lazuli steps and decorated with millions of gazebos, where the forests of Vrindavan, filled with splendid trees and vines, and glorious with bees, colorful birds, and the banyan tree, where Krishna played the flute, was splendidly manifest, where, carrying the pollen of many thousand-petal lotuses, a cool, gentle breeze flew to the shore, where, in the middle, is the Lord's personal woodlands of 32 forests, which is surrounded by walls and moats and endowed with a reddish courtyard of eternal banyan trees, a courtyard decorated with 7 walls made of rubies with a glory of pearls from awnings like millions of moons, where there were splendid flags moving in the breeze, pathways that were flower palaces, and the singing of many bees, and many maddened peacocks and cuckoos, where there were many women effulgent as 100 moons, wearing sunrise earrings, walking about as they wished, noticing their beautiful faces reflected in the jewels, running in the jewel courtyard, decorated with necklaces, bracelets, and tinkling ankle bells, and splendid with jewels in their hair, where at door after door there were millions of beautiful cows, glorious as white mountains decorated with glittering ornaments. Young, full of milk and endowed with good character, virtues, and beauty, their tails yellow, personification of auspiciousness, as they walked about with their calves. Decorated with a network of tiny bells, their bells and anklets tinkling, splendid with golden necklaces and flower garlands, their horns of gold. Many different wonderful colors, some pink, some red, some green, some yellow, some black, some smoky, and some the color of cuckoos. Giving oceans of milk marked with the signs of youth, leaping like deer, beautiful, decorated with many calves, where meandering among the cows were many great bulls, opulent with long horns and necks and very pious, where many handsome cowherd boys carrying flutes, holding sticks in their hands, and with charming melodies, singing of Krishna's pastimes. Bowing down to offer respects, the demigods entered the Lord's personal forest grove, which was 1,000-petal lotus that was a great circle of light. Above that was a 16-petal lotus, and above that was an 8-petal lotus, and above that a long path decorated with 3 stairways which led to 3 beautifully decorated steps. So even on just before when we enter Radha Kalachandji's altar, we have 3 beautiful decorated steps. So we can imagine now as we are entering the demigods, you can just try to visualize how the demigods must be feeling. There all the demigods saw Sri Krishna sitting on a splendid throne studded with beautiful Kaustuba jewels and accompanied by Sri Radha, who was accompanied by 8 splendid gopi friends, headed by Mohini and served by 8 gopas, headed by Sri Dam, who was served with diamond-handled chamara, glorious as swans, and millions of parasols like millions of moons, whose left arm was decorated by Sri Radhika, and whose right foot was bent as he wished, who held a flute and who smiled gently and gracefully, whose eyebrows enchanted hosts of Kamadeva, who was splendid as a rain cloud, whose large eyes were lotus petals, and whose arms were long, and who wore great yellow garments, whose neck was decorated with a beautiful garland of forest flowers, over which Vrindavana's intoxicated bees, hovering, created a buzzing sound, who was splendid with bracelets, anklets, and a bell, and who has glittering, charming, very glorious smile, who was handsome with the mark of Sri Vatsa, and with a jewel placed in his curly locks of hair, and who was glorious with a crown, necklace, armlets, and earrings. Very happy, as if plunged in an ocean of bliss, by seeing him, and their eyes now filled with tears, with folded hands and bowed heads, the demigods offered their respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shri Garga Samhita ki jai. So this is just one small description. Now next what happens is the demigods glorify the Supreme Lord, and then after that Krishna, he tells them in the subsequent chapters that he's going to be personally coming and relieving Mother Earth's burden. So this is a small description of the spiritual world in the Garga Samhita. There are also other places, like specifically in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, where there's a very, very great detailed description and on. So in the interest of time, it's already 8:40. I would like to stop here. If anyone has any comments or questions, corrections. Yes, Mataji, I think there's a mic.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for blissful class. Thank you for opening the windows of Vrindavan. I have two questions from the Brahma Samhita reading you just read, and one from our Bhagavatam Prabhupada's purport.
Okay.
First, this one, sorry, Garga Samhita. So you mentioned when you were describing that Krishna was and Radharani were surrounded by 8 main gopis headed by Mohini. But when we read about Ashtasakis, Mohini name doesn't come. So can you explain that one? And another question is, when we hear that demigods and Brahma went to offer prayers to Lord Krishna, they couldn't cross the ocean shore, right? They were just there. But here in this description, they actually went to Golok Vrindavan. So can you explain these two contradictions, Prabhu?
Yes, yes. I don't know if it is mentioned in this particular. Let me see if I can find out the purport. So I was reading just a few days ago. There's a description of the Kama Gayatri by Prabodhananda Saraswati, where he gives the names of different Sakis of Lalita. I believe Mohini is one of them, if I'm not mistaken.
Mohini is not part of Ashtasakis, the one who was serving one of the Ashtasakis.
Yes, yes. There are Lakshmi Sahasra Sata Sambrama Sevyamana. There are millions and millions of gopis who are serving. I'm sorry, Mataji. I don't know, beyond me, it's beyond me, who's Mohini, but I believe it's one of the 8 confidants of Lalita Devi, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Yeah. So.
Other question was, in Garga Samhita it says that the demigods and Vishnu went to offer prayers. They went direct to Golok Vrindavan. But I think elsewhere in Bhagavatam we heard that they didn't cross even the ocean, right?
Yes. So as I mentioned, so this narration by Garga Muni is from a different kalpa. It's not from this particular kalpa. Even if you see Shukadev Goswami, when he's describing, sometimes like we see in the 3rd canto and in the 8th canto, when he's describing Varahadev, he's sometimes Sukadev Goswami is in his ecstasy. So sometimes he's talking about Varaha from a different time. He's sometimes describing Shweta Varaha, sometimes he's describing Varaha that comes with the body of Varaha on his face and Narsimha on his the remaining body. Sometimes he's coming as Varaha, so sometimes he's described as red, sometimes as white. So this is like, the devotees, when they are in ecstasy, sometimes they will do this, and this is normal. This is not a mistake. So here, this particular narration of Krishna, the demigods coming to Goloka along with Lord Mahavishnu is from a different time. And this is what, how do they say in English, deja vu? So when Krishna, exhibited his mystic power, and Lord Brahma, he saw all of this, he was stunned, he fell down, he woke up, and within a moment, he had this deja vu moment where he saw this he was able to recollect all these things that happened in the past, and he was able to see. So this is, I hope that answered the question.
Yes, Prabhu. And my last question is from Bhagavatam Purports. For Shloka 61, in the purport, Prabhupada says Advaya means one without a second.
Yes, Mataji.
So I couldn't understand what it means based on Prabhupada's explanation. Can you elaborate what does one without a second mean?
Yes. So Dvaya means dual, Advaya means one. One without a second means there is no second person who's equal. So Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu Nam Advesho Asti Na Priyaha. So there is no one equal to Krishna. So it can mean one like that, and this also indicates the supremacy of Krishna. So Brahma, he thought that he was, the greatest, but here Krishna, through this pastime, he's revealing that there is no one equal to me. So that is how you can understand the word Advayam, right? This is Krishna's opulence. I hope that answered the question. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes,
So
Prabhu.
I have heard that Lord Ram and his whole army went to another Dweep to fight Ravana. It was like Pushkar Deep, and the energy of that Ravana was so strong that he was like with 1,000 head and 1,000 arms. So it is rarely mentioned. So there was a they were mentioning about travel from one Dweep to another. But during the certain times, there was a big clash between demons and the godly power that those dweeps could be easily traveled. But later, I heard that the god they decided to even strengthen the protective layer between two dweep, so they cannot be easily crossed by the human beings or somebody. So they are like there's a protective barrier between each different dweeps, so it cannot be easily crossed. Like
Thank you for your
mystical
comment.
energy.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Okay, I think we will stop in the interest of time. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.